And we welcome you into Dodger Poke Report, where tonight we have a very, very, very special guest, John Rooney, Dodgers pitcher, left-handed pitcher, 6'5" from Hofstra in the New York area, upstate New York. John, I want to thank you for coming into Dodger Poke Report.
Thanks for having me, Casey. I appreciate it.
All right, man. We had the 2020 COVID where the season got canceled, and then last year you started out on fire. I got to see you throw a couple of times at Tulsa, and I got to see the Wichita game because it was Wichita's first year, and that's kind of a rivalry, and they were really, really good, especially offensively. And you just carved them up, and so I enjoyed watching that. I enjoyed watching you pitch to them. So you had the 2020 COVID, the 2021 started out great. Then you had a lat injury. So kind of take us through the momentum that you built throughout the organization, and even through 2021, and 2020. Take us through the momentum you have.
Yeah, absolutely. So in 2019, I pitched very well, but we had a meeting after the season was over. I think it was with Connor McGinnis and a couple of the other guys, and they said they really wanted me to improve my stuff velocity-wise, movement-wise. And so that 2020 COVID season ended up being a really good thing for me. So I had a lot of time to just, nose to the grindstone, just figure everything out, what I want to do with mechanics stuff. And I think it really showed with obviously the numbers with strikeouts, and obviously the walks they weren't what I wanted it to be, but that's whatever. I'll figure that out anyway. But I came in so hot in spring training. I had a little bit of a bump when I first got to Tulsa. I think it was just kind of like the jitters of being out there for the first time in a year and a half. And it was just.
And Tulsa puts off a big time environment, don't they? Especially, yeah.
Absolutely. And I kind of forgot who I was as a pitcher. I just wanted to throw really hard and show them, like, yeah, I did it. Like, like here it is. Here's what I can do now. And then I finally started to settle in and have those games roll over where I was getting those innings and getting the strikeouts, the numbers that I wanted.
We'll talk about some of the velocity increase that you had over the 2020 COVID canceled season and some of the things that you did to actually reach into, tap into some of that ability that you have. So we'll get to that here in a little bit, but let's back up a little bit. Obviously, you had an amazing amateur career in the Scotticoke. Did I say that correct?
Scotticoke, New York. Yeah. Some people, I'm honestly impressed how to pronounce it like the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. I had one of my best friends in the world is from Rutland, Vermont, which is not too far from there, just northeast of Scotticoke County. And then you grew up in Melrose. You went to Hoosick Valley High School, had a just absolutely dominating career there. 3 state championships in 2 different sports. You were an all-state twice in both sports. And is this correct that you went 35-0 as a pitcher at Hoosick Valley? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, that's a record that can never be beat, right?
Yeah, that's a record hopefully no one beats. But things were rolling. I only threw a fastball, really. Only know how to throw a fastball, and they weren't really hitting it, so why throw something else?
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I learned my other pitches in college when they started hitting it. I'm like, okay, John, time to get better. But high school was fun for me. I absolutely love basketball still. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we really can't play as much anymore because we're under contract. But I'll tell you what, if someone wants to challenge me one-on-one, I'll accept it. Watch
out, upstate New York, I'm sure, is great basketball, and I'm sure you had a lot of people that helped you along the way to help make John Rooney. We're going to talk about how well-balanced you are, just how unique some of the interests that you have. You had to have had a lot of people that helped shape you along the way.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there was a lot of people like that, come to mind that really helped me, especially during the COVID season when I was home. People like, reached out to me because I told them what I needed to work on. And guys like when I was home, Mike McFerrin, Frank Miller really helped me out when I was going through the process of that motion. So you have a lot of support in your hometown, guys that want to help you out just for the cause of doing the right thing. So I'm so appreciative of those guys at home.
When you're as successful as you have been in your career, there's a lot of big decisions to make. It's kind of a blessing and a curse at the same time. You had multiple offers at Division I universities, and then you had the decision to go, once you get drafted, and all those kind of big decisions. So Take us through the decision to go to Hofstra. I know you had a very successful career there. So take us through that decision and what that was like for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade going to Hofstra University for the world, because just the people I met there, the teammates I still keep in contact with. But that was just I really had no idea how to go about the recruiting process when I was in high school. I'm like, oh, if they're good, they'll find me. I'll
Sure.
just keep waiting, keep performing. Someone's bound to reach out. And it wasn't really the case, but I still got a lot of the local D1 schools like Siena, the St. John's, the Hofstras that finally reached out to me. Well, Hofstra ended up just seeing me randomly, and that was for the best reasons. Um, I remember you talking about St. John's
Hmm.
questions. That was cool. His name's Corey Mascara. We still keep in contact here and there. Never got the offer, but still great program and a great coach there. He's at Wake Forest now. But I am so happy with what I did in college with Hofstra, and I wouldn't replace it.
Isn't it cool to have great experiences and great memories of those times in your life?
Yeah, I was just thrown in a men's league
Yeah.
in Long Island with grown men, 35, 40 years old, getting off of work, and like, hey, do you want to pitch? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm for it.
Yeah.
And there weren't really there's no college coaches going to that. They
Sure.
just like, why would they scout 35-year-old guys who are out of college? So I just happened to be in Long Island for some World Series, and Hofstra happened to be doing some fundraising there, and the Coach Johns ended up seeing me and taking me for a visit. And the next week, I signed with them. Rest is history.
You love baseball. You just described how much you love baseball, and I could tell during the 2020 season when it got canceled, as much as you used that to better yourself, it was killing you not to be on a baseball field and pitching. But baseball becomes a grind, even though as much as you love it, and you've really learned how to master what I call being balanced with the grind of baseball. You've got to have time away from it, and you have a lot of interest. You like golf, you like playing your guitar, you like music. So take us through some of the things that you do off of the field that kind of get you away from that daily grind that allow you to stay fresh in the game.
Yeah, well, I'm so lucky as a kid to have the parents that said, John, you will support you no matter what you want to do. And I was always interested in doing things like I wanted to play guitar. My dad took me to lessons for like 3 or 4 years, and ended up being in like a band with my brother and some hometown kids. And that was a really fun time for me. So I'm still playing that on the chord music, and I love doing that. And that definitely takes the edge off, nights after games, or, when before I pitch, I can just play some music and just kind of get into some sort of state where I'm not thinking about that. I love golfing. I love taking my friends' money on the course. It's really competitive.
You want to
With,
name which ones by first name?
I'm with Brian Warzek right now. He's over there, but we play all the time. The Michael Groves, we play all. Jaron, Devin, man, it's Ryan. Know that it's competitive, but it's just good to have that outlet too.
Yeah, and you mentioned the contract and how some of the things that you love to do. You're under contract that you can't do, but I'm sure you've learned in the professional game. You kind of have to put, as you quote, as you say, put all your eggs into the baseball basket, if you will. And so, talk about that commitment. With all the things that you enjoy doing, the way that you love baseball. Talk about that commitment that you actually have to give to this game.
Yeah, once pro ball hits, this is your life now. There's no time to mess around. You have a short window, and you better accept it. You better give it to the fullest. I'm in Arizona right now. I don't have to be in Arizona.
Sure.
Since November, because I want to be. I want to show them that I care, and this is my life. I'm committed. Like, I'm going to make the most of my opportunity and show them by being here with my work ethic that it's my time next year. Obviously, with a lat injury was heartbreaking because I was making great strides, but that just became more fuel to the fire for next year.
Sure. Third round, 2018 draft. You get drafted. That's always an awesome day. I'm sure it's very nerve wracking. I'm sure it's stressful. And then I'm sure it's very exciting once you hear your name called. So take us through that day. Take us through what that was like for you.
Yeah, it was a low key day because obviously there's some stress and there's some excitement in the situation, and you really have no idea. You have a sort of idea, but you don't really know for sure because with the draft, anything can happen. So I just had my mom and dad there, a few of my close friends, and my grandparents. They stopped by like a half an hour after. But I kind of wish now, looking back at it, I had a party. I wish I got the whole thing together. But the thing is, I didn't want to be disappointed with the draft and have to put on a smile. Either way, like there wouldn't be a fake smile. Like I get to play professional baseball no matter where I get picked.
Mm-hmm.
But there always is that expectation during draft day. But it would be fun to have a little bit of a party for that situation, looking back at it. But hopefully we'll have that party when, Major League hits or something like that.
Sure.
But it was actually beautiful how many people stopped by that day just randomly. There was no plans when I was at the house, just to say congratulations, sit down and talk, and just it was great.
That is a fantastic experience, and something that you'll obviously remember for the rest of your life. So you get your Dodgers career started 2019. You have a really good season that year. And then, like we said, the 2020 season hit, and you're kind of looking, okay, well, I have all this time, so I can really make all these changes or adjustments that I need to make without having to worry about results. And so you really dove into, a lot of ways that you could improve your velo, which you did. And one of the big ways you did is something that you call flow state. Now I may be interpreting this incorrectly, but flow state is kind of that you use visual cues and patterns of thinking that just kind of block everything out around you and allow your body to relax and get in a position to where you can maximize the way that it functions. Would that be correct?
Yeah, and it's something I think I got into naturally throughout college. Like when I had that really good year in 18 at Hofstra, something just clicked for me, and it was that flow state of just having complete body and mind synchronization, where your mind told you to do something to body and it just did it. Here's the pitch, here's where it's going to be. Every pitch, game after game, I just hit this just euphoric state where everything happens every Friday night for me. And I think sometimes when I'm trying to improve your velo, you get a little tense, you get gassed up, you try to throw it hard, here we go. But that's just not the way you should approach it. I mean, if you're training the way if you have to be training, it's going to happen naturally. And but yeah, if you can just kind of sit back, put some headphones in, close your eyes, listen to some music, something soft, something that takes you out of it for a little bit, before you get on the mounds, I think that really helps. Just breathing is a beautiful thing.
Well, then you added as much as 7 miles an hour to your fastball, just learning just kind of how to let your body work at its finest. So I know you have to be very happy with where you're at as far as from a stuff perspective, what you bring to the table, as far as, and we'll get to your stuff here in a minute, but you get into professional baseball, you have the rap soda, you have all these analytics, and then you actually know if you're increasing velocity every second, if your vertical break is improving or whatever that may be. So it would be very tempting, it seems like to me, to kind of change your game and pitch to the analytics versus what you always have been. Has that been a battle for you?
It's becoming so analytical. It really is. Yeah. It's the game of velocity now. Pitching's changed. Obviously, you still got to hit your spots because, as you know, anyone can hit a 100-mile-per-hour, 95-mile-per-hour fastball if they know it's coming, if they know that you can't throw anything else. And it's in the major leagues, it's going to happen. So a lot of it was with the plyo work. And a lot of it was actually, there's a difference between exercising and training.
Yeah, right.
I realized some people exercise, but when you're training, you are sore.
Yeah, no doubt. And exhausted.
Yeah. And that's the one thing I really switched gears from 18-19 was, the 2021 season is you have to train, not just exercise. You have to push yourself 1% every day. And that's what really got me over the top, not just with working out, but throwing, because throwing is obviously what you're doing every day.
The Dodgers are, in my opinion, the greatest organization for player development out there. So take us through the player development part of it and how much that has helped you.
Oh, yeah. There's so many guys, gathered around, especially right now. I think the staff to player ratio, the staff is just gathered around, arms crossed, looking at every movement you do. And every one of them has a great piece of information they can give you from their career and and something that can help you. It's up to you as a player to kind of look at what they're saying and say, hey, is this going to apply to me and help me? And you kind of give or take on who you kind of want to listen to. But they have so many outlets of guys that have so much information. And obviously, I'd only be with the Dodgers, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't want to get traded or anything. I want to make it to the major leagues with the Dodgers because I just love this program so much.
You mentioned Michael Grove. You mentioned Devin Mann, which, by the way, I know Michael had a season where he kind of got let off the leash this year from his Tommy John surgery that he had. I believe it was in 2017, about halfway through his junior year or sophomore year at West Virginia. But you mentioned those guys, and I bring them back up because I love the way the Dodgers do it. You know, you get drafted, you start in low A, and then about in August you go up to high A, and then the next year you start in high A, and about in August you move up to double A, and you kind of get to move up together and become brothers with each other. And you know, you mentioned you even play golf with them. That's awesome, isn't it?
Since 18, yeah. Well, me and Grove too, and Brian Warzak here, we've been tight knit since 18. It's a family, so we're always looking out for each other. And it's funny when you get like your class is. It's just one of those things. It's like you stick together. Like the people you get drafted with is just a special thing. So you just kind of you spend a lot of your time with those guys.
Pitch pitcher. You have obviously the fastball that the velo is increasing by the minute. And I know you're just excited to get back in 2022 because I know you felt like you finished 2021 showing everybody what you're capable of. But then you have the changeup and then what I call a sweeping breaking ball. I don't like to name them because everybody has a different name for a breaking ball nowadays, but 3-pitch pitcher, would that be correct?
3-pitch pitcher, yeah. It is a sweeping slider, yeah.
Yeah.
one thing I noticed this year was when it was harder, if it was 87, 86, it was getting hit a lot more than if it was sweeping at 82, 83. And once I made that adjustment, it helped me a lot more during the season. As you saw with the swing and misses, if you saw some of the video, it got a lot better that come June.
You threw it to a lot of good hitters, and you know, you threw it. What I liked about your slider, as you're calling it, is you know, you threw it to left-handers and right-handers. You know, you could come in and really buckle left-handers with it, and then with right-handers, it is devastating when you throw it to that back foot. That's a great pitch for you.
Slider, when in doubt, 0-2, 1-2, throw that back foot slider, yeah.
Yeah. So your changeup, really good pitch. It looks like you're able to get a lot of, you know, that slider is a really good pitch on left-handers and right-handers, and your changeup really has a lot of what I call vertical drop to it. It's a good pitch for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I got to get back into that more with the changeup. My usage kind of went down with it, and I think turning the corner this year, I got to have a lot more usage with my changeup because it's a great pitch, and sometimes I got comfortable with that slider being my out pitch when, I mean, the changeup plays just as much.
Yeah, awesome. And you know, we've talked about how you have, you know, you've had all these experiences and you've learned how to you know, take what you're good at and then add to that with all the analytics, and you've learned how to maximize yourself both physically and mentally. So you have a great message for young kids out there. How do they be like John Rooney and not everybody's going to play professional baseball, obviously, but how does each kid out there do what John Rooney did and maximize their skills?
Yeah. Well, first off, I mean, not everyone, like you said, not everybody's going to be a professional baseball player. And that's why you should make sure as a kid, you do everything, try everything. Don't just say, I'm going to do this and only this. You got to be versatile and you got to have fun with it, because obviously some parents can be crazy nowadays and say, my kid's going to be this and this. But like I said, my parents were awesome and they let me do whatever I wanted and they stuck with it and they're supportive. But let's say you have the chance to be a professional baseball player. You gotta work so hard and you gotta invest, and you can't just be throwing once or twice a week. You gotta go nose to the grindstone and work your tail off every day. And you gotta be around wherever you're supposed to be and show them you care, because you have a short window and you got to make the most of it.
Full bill of health for 2022, I'm assuming, and I'm sure you're excited. Have they told you where you're going to start?
No, they don't really tell you until you break the week before. Right. But it could be Tulsa, could be OKC, but it's really weird with that lat injury. You don't really know where you stand. You know where you break, but I will not be hurt either way. I'm just going to get my way to the top, one way or the other.
Awesome deal, John. Hey, this has been an awesome interview for me. I've greatly enjoyed it. You have a huge fan at Dodger Poke Report, and I'm just telling you, for fans that, you know, that have maybe haven't seen you yet, that don't get to AA games or Class A games, I'm telling you, this is a guy with big time stuff. That slider is big league. The fastball is very good. The changeup is a good pitch, and you have a very great mentality of how you approach things. So I'm so excited. Of course, I'm in the Oklahoma area, and I get to go to Tulsa and Oklahoma City, and I cannot wait to see you pitch in 2022 and get to show all that off.
I cannot wait. 2022 is going to be a good year. There's been these past 2 years with struggle and there's doubts, and it makes it that much more beautiful when things work out. So
Yeah.
I can't wait.
And one more thing, with your attitude towards 2020 and 2021, it's so great. I mean, you didn't sit around and pout about it or mope about it, which you could have because you've had a lot of stops and starts. You've just tried to figure out, like we've talked about this whole time, okay, well, I'm not getting to play baseball, so how do I maximize what I can do as far as the positive impact for this, right?
Yeah, there's no time to be negative. Those guys don't make it. Like you just don't make it because no one's going to do it for you but you. You have to put in the work yourself. No one's going to hold your hand and get you to the big leagues yourself. You got to do it. You got to do it on your own.
John, thank you so much again for joining me on Dodger Poke Report. Again, you have a huge fan. Can't wait to see you in 2022.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a blast. Appreciate it.